Good evening. How are you? Well, I'm doing a sit and talk in part because of rain, but I would have gotten around that. But I did a show with Ari Melber this evening, and so I'm at the office and I'm finishing up some things here. Uh, the the news today is about, it seems to me, the overextension of Trump on his march to monarchy. And the evidence of it are the statements he makes to our armed troops about what he's going to do domestically. And my read on that, and I think it was shared by the panel that Ari put together, was that Trump is not interested in police action. He's interested in provocation to justify further reaching occupation of troops, probably in Democratic cities and Democratic precincts, to control the power he seeks to bring to himself. The fact that the people wear masks and the fact that the people, sign on basically as mercenaries, and the fact that they don't know anything about law enforcement, and that those are rights that are reserved to the several states in our U.S. Constitution. So we have that. And we see him also adventuring into, as I've said before, South America. And the other thing that we have to be concerned about is apparently he was wandering in Japan, kind of lost, and he had, as often is the case in such gatherings, there was someone assigned to him to attend to whatever he wanted, but in fact he was just sort of following around and seeing how he was doing. The other thing I'd like to add is I consider the conversation we all had in the walk and talks yesterday to have a bearing on one solution, or, if you will, initiative that we could follow in resistance that is both lawful and is factually predicated. And that is the conversation between Vice President Pence and Trump on January 6, 2021. In that conversation, it was very clear that Trump wanted Pence to basically sell out his oath of office, to ignore the Constitution, and to declare the proper election of Joe Biden to be improper, unfair, fraudulent, whatever they wanted to label it, but without either fact or law to justify it. And so, as a result, Trump went and prepared a speech that he then revised, making a point of attacking Pence publicly as he asked the people in the streets to go to the Capitol. Now, I have mentioned this before, but there is a provision in the code that you are disqualified from office if you have sought to usurp the power of the government. And it's Article 14, Section 3. And it disqualifies an individual from public office if engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the United States. Now, Trump called Pence chicken for not joining Trump's insurrection. And what happened then was he demonstrated that he was there to incite and to overthrow the government in this conversation that had not seen the light of day until yesterday. And here's the other part of it. The other part is that if he was prosecuted to be disqualified from the Congress, by the Congress, then that disability could only be removed if 2/3 of the Congress forgave him for engaging in resurrection or rebellion. So you get an idea here that there's a path. Now others, they count their rosary beads, but they don't look at the various provisions of the Constitution and invoke them. So for example, Why aren't we concerned about the president usurping the power of Congress to declare war, to control the purse, that is, the funds of the government, to decide if we do the things that Trump asked them to do? And the answer is there's a host of things. So why aren't we moving there? We're not moving there because the Republicans are afraid to move anywhere. And the Democrats seem to be, most of them, pretty wary as well. Now, having said that, in fairness, I want to underscore the fact that I think that the Democrats are right to be fighting that the shutdown end with a repair of the juxtaposition of the wealthiest with the middle class and the poorer people. And that's not happening. Now, I understand federal employees saying you should just sign off and go back to work. I understand that. But do we think anything's going to improve if that is permitted? And the answer is no. So this is a hard thing to request, and I think this is what Obama was talking about when he said to have this fight and to win a fight that matters is going to involve sacrifice. Now, I'm not a federal employee today. I have been one in various settings. In fact, in each of the three branches of government I have served. And I know the hardship this would cause at any time in my life because in order to do public service, and if you do it right and honest and so forth, you compromise the income you might otherwise have. You know, a lot of my classmates went to Wall Street, and that was their choice, and they had marvelous careers, but that's not what I wanted to do. And so I don't have any beef about what opportunities I had. I had wonderful opportunities within a range of things that I wanted to do that involved public service. And so I understand that about these public servants. But there's a real danger here, because of the pain one feels, to think we have a compromise that allows us to return to some sort of normalcy in which the government is aware of and cares about the people. And that's not the case in the Trump regime. So I would think, for example, that questions like feeding the children with SNAP, medical attention, and returning and opening the government are things that all have to be on the table. And the Republicans have proved themselves to be unworthy of trust when it comes to them doing anything that's not in a pressure cooker like this. What makes this more difficult is that Trump doesn't care if the government remains closed. So that is the historic and tragic situation we find ourselves in. What are we counting on? We're counting on we the people saying this can't stand. This is too much. This is not just unconstitutional. This is inhumane. And so that's where I see ourselves right now. And again, it's easier for me to say some of these things because I'm not feeling this pressure, but I feel other pressures that are different. And I commiserate because I've been endorsed in the past by different unions and stuff like that when I've run for office. And if they ask for my advice now, I would give the same advice as I'm publicly saying right here in a sit and talk. So, okay, so those are a couple ideas I had. If you see the show this evening, you'll get a sense of how, I want to say impassioned, I think that's correct, for our reaction, the panel's reaction, and the examples that Ari chose that I think inform the discretion of the public where we stand and why this all matters and why it's really important. So maybe tomorrow I'll be out on the trail and I can talk to you there. All the best. Bye-bye.